from Texas, Dr. Burgess, 3 minutes.
The gentleman from Texas recognized for 3 minutes.
I thank my colleague for the recognition. This bill, H.R. 8015, does seem to be rushed. And here's the biggest thing. It's not going to address the core problem that exists in the United States Postal Service. This bill appropriates a $25 billion bailout using emergency supplemental funding, removing it from the previously agreed to bipartisan budget agreement numbers, and prohibits the Postal Service from making any reforms until next year at the earliest. So if this bill is intended to improve efficiency or effectiveness of the Postal Service, I would just simply ask, how in the world is it supposed to do that if it is prohibited from making any changes? The Postal Service is in trouble. Every member of this chamber, Republican or Democrat, understands this. We should be deeply concerned about the precarious position of the Postal Service, but despite the narratives, this problem has been decades in the making. The Postal Service operational pains have been festering literally for decades. Since 2007, mail volumes have fallen year on year as American consumers and businesses have chosen digital communication over letters and mailed advertising. Over the same period, the number of addresses requiring delivery and retiree obligations of retired Postal Service employees have continued to grow. So in very simple terms, revenues have fallen and costs have risen for over a decade. Now, this novel coronavirus, the impact on the economy is only exacerbating the situation. Postal Service lost $2.25 billion in the second quarter of this year. H.R. 8015 kicks the can down the road and forces the Postal Service to continue to sustain financial losses. No reforms to modernize the Postal Service, so we should expect its fiscal health to worsen. Now, in spite of all of the heated rhetoric today, the Postal Service will not collapse tonight. The Postal Service has informed Congress that it has enough cash on hand to remain solvent through August of 2021. That's a year from now if you're doing the math at home. And Congress has already provided an additional lifeline by raising the Postal Service's loan authority by $10 billion. Instead of voting on this rushed and partisan bill, members of this chamber could work together to solve the problem. Congress has time to work through the proper committees, provide the proper oversight, provide the proper reforms, and preserve this essential service. So let's vote against this bill today, a dictatorial bill brought to us by the Speaker of the House, H.R. 8015, and work together in finding a meaningful and lasting fix for the United States Postal Service. I yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman reserved.